The newest, Caleb W., going to lead a Chicago sports franchise. Caleb Williams, obviously, with the Bears, and now Caleb Wilson with the Chicago Bulls. And joining us now to break that down and the NBA draft, and perhaps more, our friend Danny Parkins. First things first on Fox Sports 1, on Twitter at his name, at Danny Parkins. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Nick, doing great, as always. How you doing, buddy?
Doing awesome. Take us through it. Danny, lifelong Chicago Bulls fan. Your team selects Caleb Wilson. I think it's huge cause for optimism. How are you feeling on this Wednesday morning about the Bulls' first round?
I'm thrilled, obviously. I mean, listen, they weren't supposed to be there. Like, that's the first thing, right? Like, so they got to the tanking party late and then got lucky in the lottery, and they got lucky in the lottery in what people are calling a historic draft. And Caleb Wilson is the most exciting prospect the Bulls have drafted since Derrick Rose. And I think that it's the most exciting moment for the franchise since the 2014-15 season where, Derrick Rose was post-knee injuries, but still good and still on the team. And Jimmy Butler had emerged into a star. And that was kind of the last gasp of that team when there was still real optimism around the Bulls. So, is he as surefire as the top 3 picks? Probably not. He only made 7 3-pointers in his college career, and so in the modern NBA, that's an issue. But he's 6'10". He can jump out of the gym. He has a 7-foot-plus wingspan. By all accounts, his care for the game, his love for the game, his basketball IQ is through the roof. He told Chicago reporters last night that he wants to be one of the greatest of all time, and he understands that this is an organization that has the greatest of all time. So he's saying all of the right things. And now we get to see what happens. His game looks to me a little Amari-ish. People have talked about, Giannis as a ceiling. Now, that's obviously a very, very, very high ceiling. But it's a wildly exciting moment for a Bulls franchise that desperately needed a moment like that.
I want to say that the Knicks winning the championship has freed me of my hatred for the Chicago Bulls, and I want to be happy for you. But if I'm being completely honest, I'm not. Rest of the first round. I'm just being real. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
I really thought. I
wouldn't want you to be.
I really thought. I mean this. I really thought that I would be free of it. That I wouldn't hate the Bulls, that I wouldn't hate the Heat, and I wouldn't hate the Pacers anymore because we won. And nope, still hate. And I especially hate the Bulls. I don't think I'll ever not hate the Bulls. Anyway.
Well, listen, you got one. You got one. The Bulls got 6. So take your time. You'll get there.
Well, we got the last one though. And listen, as a Yankee fan, this is true. Like I'm conditioned to speak in these terms. We won the last one. So there you have it. Ergo, our one is better than your 6. Is it? Maybe not. What else, Danny, anywhere you want to take it, struck you from the first round last night of the NBA draft?
So I think that it's an interesting time, and I understand why it happens. I just talked about Giannis and Amari, right? We talk ceilings of these guys, but I do think that Cameron Boozer has become underrated. Like that athletic piece that did all the anonymous scouts and coaches on players. There was a coach who coached against him who said he reminded him of Tim Duncan. It's like father was in the NBA, National Player of the Year, Duke, exceeded all expectations for his athletic testing at the combine, a big whose profiles to be a 20-10 guy, who's an excellent passer and, has some Jokic in his game. And it's like, well, let's make him the 3rd pick in the draft. And I get it. Dembele seems to be a perfect prototype for the modern NBA as a two-way player, and Darren Peterson, who I think is the best player in the draft, is just an electrifying offensive threat who's also awesome on the defensive end of the floor. Like he might be Devin Booker as a plus defensive player. So I think that speaks to how special the draft is, but I honestly think in like 3 out of 5 or maybe 4 out of 5 drafts, Cameron Boozer would be the number 1 overall pick and no one would bat an eye.
What struck me, Danny, and I'm curious if you agree or disagree with this, watching the draft last night, you watch the NFL draft, we watch a ton of sports, right? There's usually, when you get on the air to do a solo show, or what you do with on TV, right? There's usually something you want to complain about, something you don't like, something you view as a negative. I'm being honest. I look at what happened last night in the NBA draft and I see optimism everywhere. And if I do dislike something, it's not to a significant degree. Like, do I think the Nets should have picked Darius Acuff instead of Mikel Brown? Like, probably. But, like, why can't Mikel Brown be awesome also? Was there anything that happened last night where in the moment you're thinking to yourself, oh, man, I think they blew it? I don't think I had maybe even one of those big moments last night watching it.
Yeah, it's an interesting observation. My things on the draft were all more just like sarcastic smartass remarks. Like when Mikel Brown was drafted by the Nets, I'm like, those Nets fans have to be paid actors. Like the draft is in Barclays last night. The Knicks just won a title. I live in New York. There's not a single solitary living, breathing Nets fan. And then when Johnson, the kid from Michigan, was drafted and he went over and he dapped up Dusty May, but then Adai Mara and Yaxel Lindeborg were picked 2 and 3 picks later. I'm like, I wonder if there's any tension there because now they know who the coach's favorite was. Like it was like little things like that. But in terms of a team like really messing something up, I didn't have a strong feeling for it. I thought the kid from Arizona who went to Milwaukee with the 10th pick, made sense for an upside play in the post-Giannis era. So, I thought Lindeborg made sense as a plug-and-play guy for the Warriors, as someone who maybe would be able to contribute sooner than later for Steph Curry. Agreed with you on Acuff over Brown. I actually liked Acuff a little bit more than Wagler. I know that that's not a popular opinion. But, I had quibbles, and like I said, I would have taken Peterson over Debanza. Like, it feels like Debanza should be a Jazz because he played at BYU, and the owner of the team has been, funding his basketball life. So, little things like that, but not, wow, any team made a catastrophic mistake.
What did you make? And however you want to answer this question, or if you want to give, a non-answer is totally fine. I hated it. What did you make of the broadcast last night of the first round of the draft?
That's interesting. You hated it.
I hated it. Because you know why? And I'll give you the context. Yeah. They didn't do sports. It's here's the draft pick, and now here's a 4-minute interview with the player and the family. Put that on ABC. Can I get highlights? Can we talk about how Yaxel Lindeborg fits next to Steph Curry? Do I have to see him doing an interview with Lisa Salters and his mom for 3 minutes? Can we do sports? Is that so much to ask for?
Yeah, so it's so interesting. I think my perspective was I was watching it with Steph, my wife, and she kept saying how many great mom moments there were.
That's funny. See, put it on the ABC.
Yeah, and she loved all of the kids' pictures. And I guess what I would say is sometimes they do the human interest things in the draft, and it feels like we're watching tragedy porn, and it's just man, these were a lot of mom, dad, siblings. These kids are so impressive. They're so it's a product of NIL and media training and education and great parental role models and all of these things. But I was like, these kids are so much more impressive than I was at 18, 19, 28, 29 that I did find myself kind of getting swooped up in it because you would get a minute of analysis from Billis or whoever else was at the desk. And then, you'd go to Lisa Salters for 2 minutes. And I got to be honest, maybe I'm getting soft as a parent, but I was enjoying the parents being able to beam around their kids. So I guess you're just a bad guy is the moral of the story. Yeah.
I'll gladly wear the scarlet letter B, and you can wear the scarlet letter S for soft, and that's totally okay. A couple more minutes with our friend Danny Parkins from Fox Sports. Will Jaylen Brown be a Boston Celtic Game 1 this upcoming regular season? Yes or no, and why?
No. I mean, no with a capital N, capital O. You could scarlet that one on my chest, too. It's not just the fact that they tried to trade him for Giannis and it didn't work. People have been dangled in trade talks. It's not just the relationship aspect of it. Jaylen Brown said this past season was his favorite season in the NBA when he got to be the guy, and he's won a championship and been a finals MVP, and his star running mate was out for the whole year with a ruptured Achilles, and he said it was his favorite year ever. And Brad Stevens at the end of the season when they lost to Philly was like, we weren't really that close. Like, when you really think about it and how we played against the best teams, we weren't that close. Like, Boston was a great regular season story. They are an analytically forward-thinking team. Like, because Jaylen Brown is not just a chucker from three, and he is not a guy who doesn't get paint touches or doesn't get fouled. He is great at the things that Boston struggled at. So I'm not saying you get better when you trade Jaylen Brown, but I think that you could trade Jaylen Brown, who finished sixth in MVP and was second-team All-NBA and is legitimately one of the 5 to 10 best two-way players in the whole sport. You can trade him for just about anything. Like, if you could get Giannis for him, and he's got such a huge contract, so you can take on a bunch of deals, you could trade him to Atlanta, Alexander Walker, Kuminga, and Rishache. You could trade him to Houston for Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, and draft picks, or Amen Thompson and Şengün and draft picks. Okay, you can trade him to Orlando for Paolo Banchero. You can trade him to Portland for Shaedon Sharpe and Jeremy Grant and Scoot Henderson. Like, so my guess is Brad Stevens uses the huge contract and the huge talent of Jaylen Brown to hold a bidding war, and instead of getting like a one-for-one type trade in Giannis, he ends up getting three pieces that really diversify the Celtics.
Give the last one in about 10 seconds. You guys have been doing an awesome job, obviously, Fox with the World Cup, and you guys covering it on First Things First and in social content. Who's going to win the World Cup right now in your estimation? 10 seconds to go.
I think I picked Spain before the World Cup. I think France has been more impressive. I don't see any team, even Argentina's defense, I'm not sure anyone is going to slow down that scoring attack. So I think France has been the most impressive team so far.
You and me, buddy. Allez les bleus. Let's go France to win the World Cup and cash some bets for myself and Danny Parkins. My friend, sincerely appreciate it. I'll catch up with you when I'm back from my vacation. Enjoy, and we will talk soon.
All right, buddy. Have a good vacation. I would say it's much earned, but you were on vacation like 3 weeks ago. So good for you.
That is, and I'm going to go on another one. Our friend Danny Parkins here with us on You Better You